The Southern African Development Community leaders are pushing for an extraordinary summit on Zimbabwe as they resolutely dig in on the country's recent disputed elections. Although diplomats have raised concern that not much is being done from key stakeholders in Harare to empower regional leaders to put more pressure on President Emmerson Mnangagwa, calls for special summit are growing. There is consensus in SADC that the 23 August general elections violated Zimbabwe's constitution, electoral act, and SADC principles and guidelines governing democratic elections as highlighted by the regional body's election observer mission. Diplomatic sources said minutes of the extraordinary meeting of the SADC organ Troika Ministerial Committee held on 26 September 2023 captured the thinking of SADC leaders. The ministers, diplomats said, cannot reflect their own opinions but express the views of their leaders. The minutes showed that the Ministerial Committee defended the report produced by the SADC EOM, which was headed by former Zambia Vice President Nevas Mumba. The ministers slammed senior ZANU-PF and government officials for vilifying Mumba and Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema after the observer mission for the first time gave an adverse report on the post. They said attacks from Harare had the potential of undermining SADC processes and credibility, while insisting that the report reflected the opinion of the regional observers and not Zambia is wrongly appropriated by ZANU-PF propagandists. Diplomats told this publication that the ministers reflected the SADC opinion, which was expressed in a way that heads of state would do. Following Tuesday's ministerial meeting, Hichilema chaired an online SADC organ on politics, defense and security cooperation Troika meeting, which discussed the political and security situation in DRC, Zimbabwe's recent disputed elections, and the upcoming polls in Eswatini. Tanzania was represented by Philip Mpango, Namibia by Nangolo Mumba, DRC by Jean-Pierre Bemba, Elias Magosi. A communique released after the meeting revealed that the SADC EOM had presented its final report to Hichilema, who was preparing to hand it over to Mnangagwa, and he has since handed over to Mnangagwa and the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. Minutes of the ministerial meeting were shared across social media, with the Troika noting that there is a risk that attacks by ZANU-PF will undermine the organ and that of the credibility of the SEOM. Ministers also commended the Secretariat for taking the initiative to issue media statements that clarified the procedures that are followed by SEOM as they rebuffed Zimbabwe's position, while protecting the credibility and leadership of the organ and that of the SEOM. The some SADC leaders have been pushing for an extraordinary summit to deal with the Zimbabwean crisis. Only 3 leaders attended Mnangagwa's inauguration in what was seen as a snub to Mnangagwa following the controversial pause. Mnangagwa, however, used the United Nations General Assembly in New York to lobby SADC leaders as the pressure mounted. Although there is consensus that the Zimbabwean pause was shambolic and not free and fair, SADC leaders are divided on what action to take. The SADC's position has been further complicated by the lack of a push by key stakeholders in Zimbabwe, including political parties. With each passing day, Mnangagwa's hand is evidently getting strengthened, said a certain diplomat. Anokuoneka ine mfaro, ndinu wenyu Honorable Madiva.